but to openly praise Hamas at an exhibit in a government facility sends a message of institutionalizing hatred. Hamas is a terrorist organization that murders gay people, Jews, and Christians, among many other groups.
I am Muslim. I am a democratic socialist. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams has issued 2 sweeping executive orders aimed at blocking city support for any Israel-related boycott and regulating protests near houses of worship, setting up a direct confrontation with incoming Mayor Zohran Mamdani.
We want to clearly send the right message that 49% of New Yorkers made it clear that they don't embrace the philosophy of anti-Israel. 49% of New Yorkers. And so our city is more divided than it has ever been. But you must know that we still consider Israel as an ally and as a friend. And I'm here today as I leave office to state I would not be leaving my advocacy for Israel and for the Jewish people all over the globe.
Executive Order 60 bars city agencies, pension administrators, and mayoral appointees from participating in procurement, investment, or pension decisions that discriminate against Israel or Israeli citizens. The directive protects more than $300 million in Israel-linked assets held in New York City's 5 pension systems, which collectively manage nearly $300 billion for over 750,000 employees, retirees, and beneficiaries.
It's been said that anti-Semitism is a virus that mutates. It comes back in different forms and finds new ways to hide in plain sight. I want to be clear that disagreeing with the policies of Israel government does not make someone anti-Semitic, but to openly praise Hamas at an exhibit in a government facility sends a message of institutionalizing hatred. Hamas is a terrorist organization that murders gay people, Jews, and Christians, among many other groups. Like so many other cultures before, we are now watching as anti-Semitism is institutionalized right before our very eyes. History shows us how hatred begins on the fringes. It starts small with a few artists trying to make a statement, with a few exhibits that go unnoticed by our leaders and institutions, with a few institutions that accept the hate, embedding it into our culture. Before we know it, hate moves to the mainstream. And once it is in the mainstream, it becomes much harder to mobilize against.
The move intensifies a brewing political clash with Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, who supports the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, or BDS, movement. Mamdani has previously argued that city funds should not be invested in violation of international law and has endorsed divesting from Israel bonds.
He was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. You know, I mean, he's working very hard for him to be. It's a very That's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
I think yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know them very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters, beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any report like that, but certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
You're a peacemaker, and you did a peace in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and he worked hard to make the peace, because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere? Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Executive Order the 61 directs the NYPD to review patrol guidelines for protests near houses of worship, including establishing buffer zones around entrances. This follows a November protest outside Parkey Synagogue, where demonstrators chanted slogans such as "Death to the IDF" and "Globalize the Intifada."
Does President Trump want Zohran Mamdani deported?
I haven't heard him say that. I haven't heard him call for that. But certainly he does not want this individual to be elected. I was just speaking to him about it and his radical policies that will completely crush New York City, which is obviously a city that the president holds near and dear to his heart.
There's this Congressman, Andy Ogles, he wants the Attorney General Bondi to explore denaturalization proceedings because he thinks Mamdani could have misrepresented or concealed material support for terrorism based on rap lyrics he wrote in 2017. Does President Trump think this is a worthwhile use of the Attorney General's time?
Well, I'll let the president speak to that. I have not seen those claims, but surely if they are true, it's something that should be investigated.
And could President Trump see himself, you said you just talked to him about this, could he see himself working with a Mayor Mamdani, somebody who on Meet the Press this weekend was given 3 chances to condemn the phrase globalize the Intifada, but he couldn't?
Yeah, look, the president is always willing to work with everyone. He's working with Democrats across the country, Democrat governors, and he said he'll work with people on the far left. He works with Republicans. He works with people in the middle. He wants to do what's right for America, but surely someone who holds these values and is quite literally a communist and condemns every value that makes this country great. Common sense, law and order, low taxes, working hard, and earning your keep in this country. He's against all of that, and I think the president would find it difficult to work with someone like that. If he is elected, I'm sure you'll hear more from the president on that, but we'll have to see. Hopefully the voters of New York City choose wisely.